Hello, welcome back to the Narconon and Scientology Chronicles channel. I'm Lucas Catton. And I wanted to do a follow-up video regarding the outcome of the preliminary hearing for Danny Masterson and his rape charges. And they finished up today, and the judge issued or ruled that he must now stand trial for these charges. And I think that anybody who has read the stories from the reporters who were present, there's thousands of them online now through the Associated Press, and probably the most detailed is through Tony Ortega, who has been on hand each day and during each break would come out and write updates, along the way, like all week long. So you can go online and read about those from each day and get more detail there. But one of the things that I specifically want to talk about is how Scientology has remained front and center throughout this entire hearing. And it was brought up time and again by each of the victims, for example, and how the reason why they had either delayed reporting or it messed with reporting, or how they viewed the situation with him, or lots of things like that, how Scientology was involved, including, as I mentioned last one, like people who told them directly not to report it. But also, an interesting thing is that they brought out this book called the Scientology Ethics Book. And the defense attorney tried to actually use that as a way to say that it was BS, that their claims that nowhere in Scientology did it say you can't report to the police. Well, that backfired on him heavily. In fact, not only was there other parts in the book that were shown by the deputy district attorney, but there's lots more information that has come out since then as well. And the judge wasn't buying it. The judge clearly saw that there's influence here, and this is a negative influence by the church and by L. Ron Hubbard's doctrines that have been a part of this for so long, and that have been such a warped sense of reality for people who had ever been involved in that. And Mike Rinder posted something, I believe yesterday morning or yesterday afternoon, that breaks down, for example, a response from Scientology spokesperson Karen Powell to the LA Times about how saying that they're always very cooperative with the police and there's nothing in Scientology that talks about this. And he gets out copies of pages of this book, Scientology Ethics Book, that goes in and shows him how she's absolutely lying, that it is a part of, and anybody who's ever been involved in Scientology, who has done extensive study of Scientology practices, knows that, in fact, Scientologists believe that the police and the court systems and criminal justice and all that stuff, that they're all stupid, and that only Scientology is the answer to everything in the world. Like, a side note, they don't believe in doctors or psychiatrists or lots of things like that, except in only certain circumstances if you're a doctor or whatever. And only if it plays to their advantage in terms of courts and lawyers and whatever else, and police, that sort of thing. So Rinder breaks it down beautifully, and you need to go look at that. I'm going to put a link below in the description of the video to that article, so you can read that for yourself and see how it was an absolute shooting themselves in the foot by entering in this book as claiming that is part of their defense, which is ridiculous. It's actually even more proof of how guilty that the church is in their negative influence on people. Even though the church is not on trial at this point, potentially maybe some individuals who interfered with it could be at some later point, but we'll see. And there's also another post by Jeffrey Augustine on his Scientology Money Project blog that I'll share below, where he also breaks down, including comments from various attorneys that had posted comments on Tony Ortega's blog, and he breaks it down even further as well. So talking about the prominence of how much Scientology's influence has been intertwined in this case from the very beginning, and how it's finally time, even though it's been this long, it's finally time that these victims are getting a chance to tell their story, and for a criminal court to actually make an adjudication on this. So once again, I encourage you to take a look at that. I'll put those links below, and if there's any doubt anywhere that Scientology has a negative influence on society, take a look at. One of the things they always say is read a book. Don't take some critic's word for it. Why don't you pick up a book? If you really want to know, definitely pick up a book and read the lunatic writings that are in the Scientology Ethics Book. That would be a wonderful start. And there's so many other places that you can do that, but that would be a start. How it rips apart society and thinking that L. Ron Hubbard himself is the greatest thing in the universe, and that all Scientologists are superior to everyone else in the world. That's actually what they say. So that's all I got this time. There's going to be surely lots more about this case that we'll comment on later, but we'll leave it at that for now. Thanks again.